Now, Mr. Omomo, before the date of this incident, can you tell the tribunal the different types of camera your company had at the Lekki plaza?
Because we operate in an electronic tolling system, we power it with different devices. Two major categories of this are these cameras that we mention now. The first one is the automatic plate number recognition. Automatic plate number recognition. The function of this is to capture, identify and capture and record the identity of a vehicle as they make a passage across the plaza. This camera that I said, it functions by recognizing the vehicle through the plate number. It also helps us to also classify it. When I mean classify it, whether it be a Jeep or it's an ordinary car. And the location of this camera is the location of, and the position of this camera is like an eye view, eye level, around the eyes. It's not too tall up there, not too high up there. Reason being that it can capture the object, that is the vehicle, the cars as they pass. That's why it's not too high up there. That's the first category of the camera that I'll talk about. The second one is the surveillance camera. This one is surveillance camera. It is, we call it PTZ. The P there, PTZ, we call it PTZ. P for Paul, T for tall, and Z for Zola. The P there is to enable you to pan, to just move around. The T there is to enable you to tilt. It can go this way, it can go this way. It tilts. While the Z there, the Z, it allows the camera to zoom. PTZ. And that is the second major category of camera that we have. The position of this, like we went there that day, I showed it to the panel where we visited, is just up high there. As at the time we went there, it was still there. And to the best of my knowledge, this morning, at this moment, it is still there. It's hosted on a mast.
Yeah.
Now, before the incident of 20th of October, did your company remove any category of camera at the toll plaza? And then tell the tribunal which category of camera was removed by your company.
Thank you. On the 20th, early in the early hour of the 20th, I can't be too specific now, but around 10 o'clock, when we noticed, when we observed, like I have tendered earlier, that they had decided that they had started, pilfering and tampering with our equipment. So we then decided to harvest, to proactively harvest the equipment that we can, because they are very expensive. All those equipment that we talk about were bought in dollar, not from the local contractors or manufacturers. They are all foreign.
Yes.
Our mind was to find a way to safeguard and keep as much as we can. Yes, around that early hour of the day, we did remove the type that I talked about earlier, the automatic plate number recognition. That's the one we try to remove, plus some other items like laptop, computer systems, and so on.
It then follows from your answer that at no time was the surveillance camera removed or tampered with by your company.
At
Its position.
I can confirm that categorically, that we never, ever tamper with that surveillance camera. And as we probably will see in the footage, that's why the footage, we can still get the footage. It remained there until about some time later in the day, around 8 o'clock, when it was tampered with and we couldn't get any network anymore. Excuse me. What I mean is that we are talking about recording and footage.
We will come to
Until 8 p.m.
Until around 8 p.m. I'm talking about the physical camera, as we saw it that day, is still there. But around and after 8 o'clock, it stopped recording.
Now, can you tell the tribunal what was responsible for the stoppage of the recording of the surveillance camera at about 8 p.m.?
Okay. The major cause is because the system, the network, the way it is that we have the network. The network is the one that connects the various cameras together. As of today, we have 3 of them. We have one camera at the plaza that we have at Sanfield. We have the second camera on the Ikoyi Bridge. We have the third camera, the same camera, the surveillance camera, at the Chevron office. The server itself, that is where the database resides, is located at the Chevron office. Reason we can even get anything. But the network, what brings all the cameras together to communicate together, is resident or was resident then at the Ikoyi office, which has been burned.
The Ikoyi Plaza.
Ikoyi Plaza, Ikoyi Bridge.
Now, what is the source of power supply in the Lekki Toll Plaza?
Essentially, we have independent power project source. The one that is located, we have the IPP. IPP means independent power project. That power is supplied from somewhere around Lekki, phase 1. That's the major source. Then we also have our own generators. Where there is no power from IPP, we switch on our generators. Then we have this one that we can use to do a stopgap. That's our UPS, because the tolling system can never stop having power. So between when we are moving from one source of power to another one, the UPS will be on. These are the major ways we power the equipment at the plaza. The IPP, the generator, and on a small scale, the UPS.
Yeah.
Now, what happened to the operation of the generators at the toll plaza on the evening of the day of the incident?
Consequent upon the declaration of the curfew, and we got information, and as a responsible company that cares for the safety of our staff, we also issued a communication that everybody should comply with the announcement. So we sent communication out to all staff to go, and everybody left. So, including those that were supposed to be in charge of the generator, because everybody had to go.
Now, the initial announcement of curfew, before you asked all the staff to leave, was to start from what time? The curfew
What we had,
initially announced by Lagos State government.
we had 4 o'clock p.m.,
Okay.
4 p.m. Yes.
Now, on both sides of the toll plaza, there are advertisement billboards.
Yes.
Yes. Who is in charge or who is responsible for the management of the advertisement billboards?
Now, the sources of revenue to LCC are coming from majorly
LCC.
Lekki Concession Company.
Yes.
Our major sources of revenue are, 1, from tolling revenue. That's the vehicle that are passing and we're collecting money. The second major one is the advert that we do on the road. As part of our strategy to maximize this, what management did was to give this out to private advertising agencies. One of them, because we have many of them, one of them is the owner of the one on the top of the plaza.
And,
So it is not directly managed by Lekki Concession Company.
now, is your company in any way involved in powering or supplying power to those advertisement signage?
Not at all, sir. They are fully independent.
Now, did you or any of your staff physically witness the events at the Lekki Toll Plaza on the 20th, the evening of the 20th of October 2020?
Physically, no. All that we can say today is relying on the footage, the camera, the video footage that we have. And if given the opportunity, I can explain that background, why we're not physically present.
Yeah.
You can explain.
Okay. Why we were not at this environment at all, particularly on that day, was the prior days had seen a progressive taking over of that environment. It started early in the month when they came, being taken over by the protesters. It started when, at the beginning, we saw a group of people with the inscriptions boldly written, NSAS. What they were looking for, or what they were doing on that particular day, was to have a passage through the plaza from one side of the Lekki phase 1 to the Oniru junction. And we did oblige. We allowed them to make that passage. But progressively, as we count the 1, the 2, the movement started to cluster around the plaza area. At a point, we're now beginning to have issues where they were now beginning to occupy.
Slow down.
Yeah.
So progressively, we notice the movement and the position of the protester now remaining around the plaza area on both sides. That is, on the side of Lekki phase 1, if you are going towards Lekki phase 1, and on the side of Oriental, or I call it Oniru junction. At a particular time, they were now beginning to go into the booth area. The booth area is the cubicle where we have our people sitting down to work. At that point, we had to withdraw the people because it was just impossible for us to work, to operate. In any case, at that time also they had also blocked the 2 sides of the road. No vehicle could pass. So at the point also, there was a social media report wherein they allege that we were trying to bring police to come and harass them. So we tried all we could to avoid any form of confrontation. So we had to withdraw our people out of the area. Up to a point, we now, towards the end, maybe around 1918, I'm not too sure of the date now, but towards a weekend where we had Thursday, Friday, Saturday, that preceded that 20th, we saw a lot of activity. At that point, it was just not possible for us to be around that area. So we had to move away from there. I was not there at all because I have been harassed to say that I've been trying to bring in the police. They gave out my number to everybody. They were calling me, abusing me and cursing me. So for me, the best way is to stay out of the environment completely. That's what we did.
Well, that's all for me.
Yes, sir.
Lekki Concession Company, can you tell the panel who owns it?
As of today, it is owned 100% by the government of Lagos State.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Now, the toll plaza area,
on a normal day, is it open for ingress and egress by everybody? No restriction. Are other people allowed to just walk around and stay within that toll plaza area on a normal day if there was nothing like protest?
No, sir. The only movement you will see will be the movement of vehicles, not human being walking.
How long before 20th of October had you observed people under the SARS protest, congregating within the Lekki plaza? Before that 20, how many days before that day have you observed them congregating there?
From the 8th of October 2020. 8th of October 2020. And I must also say that it's not only the Lekki toll, but just probably we are just restricted. This same thing also happened at the point on the bridge, on the Ikoyi bridge.
That's for the congregation of protesters?
Yes.
Between the 8th of October and the evening of 20th of October, can you recall any incident between the Lekki Concession Company and the NSAS that involved invitation of security agencies or law enforcement agencies? Before this incident, for the period of 8th of October to 20th, say around 4, and were there any incidents that warranted you to engage law enforcement agencies against the protesters?
Not to my knowledge. Because like I said earlier, they came, they stayed, and they were there.
Does Lekki Concession maintain armed security apparatus within that complex? Armed security apparatus by yourself? Armed?
Yes, in all the 3 locations we have. Because of the nature of our job, we collect cash. We carry cash. We have equipment that are very valuable. So we have what we call dedicated policemen, just for security purpose only.
And for the period of 8th of October to 20th, you had no reason to engage the policemen to interface with the protesters?
None at all. None. We never, not for a second, interfere with what they are doing.
Now, you've mentioned the surveillance cameras mounted on your facilities at Lekki, Chevron, and Ikoyi. How many in all are these cameras, the surveillance ones?
There are 3.
And how are they located? Where?
The one at the Sanfields Plaza is located on.
No, don't worry about them for security reasons. Just tell us the location of the 3.
It's that one is located. The one at the Sanfield is located.
I want to know, is there one at Ikoyi, another one at Chevron,
Yes.
another one at...
Yes,
That's
one at Sanfield, one at Ikoyi Bridge, one at Chevron, sir.
Are these three cameras networked in terms of being able to communicate with each other? Are they networked so that there's a control center you can see globally what's happening in the three locations? Are they networked? Do they communicate with each other?
Yes, the three of them communicate.
Now, where is the command and control center for this camera? CCC.
The command, what we call
Out
command,
of the three, don't mention, but just tell us which of the three do you have the command and control center. Don't go into details.
where we have it, right?
Is it at Lekki, at Chevron,
The-
or at Ikoyi?
the CCC
Command and control
The
center.
CCC is at Chevron.
Where is the network control center, NCC?
That one is at Ikoyi Bridge.
The surveillance technology deployed by Lekki Concession, how modern is it? When was the last upgrade that you did to bring it up to the latest high-tech? What year?
To the best of our knowledge, from our IT and from the company that did implement it for us, it's up to date, sir.
It's up to
Up to date.
2020 technology.
I need to be very careful when we say 2020 technology, but it's with the current, is the contemporary technology.
And when you say that, you're talking globally, not just within Nigeria.
No, globally.
Globally. Thank you. Please, so that we can assist the honorable panel. This surveillance camera, the one that does the PTZ, panning, tilting, and zooming. Do you know of whether it has capacity for detection, for recognition, and for identification? These three functionalities. That surveillance camera, do you know if it has capacity for them?
Yes.
You don't have to be technical if you don't, but at
Yes.
least you have an idea of what
Yes,
you can do.
yes,
As
yes.
against the one you mount by the book
Yes.
polling drivers.
Yes, that is why it's able, as high as it is, it's able to pick some of those things that we have today. It has that capability of detecting, of identifying the objects, because it can also zoom.
Now, what is the radius of this surveillance camera? How far away from its location can it capture images and record?
Yeah, it can go as far as between 1.75 kilometer and 2 kilometer.
On either side?
But on each of the radius, any side, it can go that far.
Does this camera have audio capacity apart from visual? Will we be able to hear sound of what is recording, or is it simply to record the visual images?
I'm afraid to say ours, we did not activate that audio functionality. And I can tell you why.
Please, go ahead.
We essentially, we deploy the camera, surveillance camera, for the control and management of traffic, not human stuff or things like that. Our own is to be able to look at our traffic on the second-by-second basis, and the main purpose, our main purpose, is traffic management. And we believe that just seeing the images is sufficient for us. That's why we didn't bother to activate voice.
Can you, to put light to this testimony, give us an example of what you can use that for? In terms of traffic management,
Okay.
what does it assist you to do?
Okay. I can be in this location now, at this location now, because we also have it on our phone and private devices like iPad and others. Instead of me running from one location to another one, I will look at it and I will know if this traffic is coming from Oluwalogbon, which is as far as Chevron, or is coming from Jakonde, or is coming from whatever spot. And that enables us to deploy people to go and sort it out. That's what the camera is for.
Now, I noticed that sometimes you have free passage. You allow us to just drive through without paying.
That is the outcome of that observation. If we look at the volume from our control room, if we look at the volume of traffic that we have, and we know that there is a certain number that the plaza can process per minute per second, we do an estimate and say we cannot afford this one, and then we just allow it to go. This camera enables us to make this kind of objective decision.
Now, please, let's, can I have the exhibit standard? Not the camera, just go for it. Please show witness exhibit C. Let him confirm this one. Yeah, you tendered that document.
I did.
Now, if the panel may so permit, confirm the date that that conversation, that message was recorded in your system. What date was that?
It was on the 11th of October.
11th of. As at that date, protesters had started gathering at your premises.
They started on the 8th.
On the 8th.
Yes.
Now, please, can you read the message there?
It is in full at the back.
Sir, the MD of LCC, in brackets, Lekki Toll Gate, just called his CSO, a former SAS boss, and with the instruction of the government, they are bringing SAS, in brackets, in police uniform, and RRS to harass protesters on Lekki Toll Gate tomorrow. Because of the traffic they caused today, I can't tweet this on my page because I work there. And please hide my identity. Let everyone stay safe.
Thank you. Now, that was on the 11th.
Yes.
To start with, do you have a SARS security officer in your company?
We do not.
Or retired or former?
We do not have.
Secondly, After the 11th, when this message was circulated, was there any incident of police or armed persons showing up at your facility, either at Lekki or Sheba, up on the 20th?
Not to my knowledge, sir. Not to my knowledge. I don't know.
Now,
I mean, there's none.
can you look at Exhibit B?
Yes, sir.
So that Exhibit C that we earlier read is from a source. Can you identify the source? It was in circulation, but do you know who was the author?
We saw it on Twitter.
On Twitter.
Yes. We saw it on Twitter. On
Now,
social
look at
media.
Exhibit B. Who authored that exhibit, sir?
This is my head of HR, Teresa, and I authorize her to do so.
Very good. Now, please, can you read the content? Confirm the date, the time, and then read the content.
Tuesday, October 20th, 2020. Time is 2:49 p.m. It's copied to me, and the subject is State Curfew. Good afternoon, all. I hope you are all doing fine. In view of the prevailing unrest in Lagos State, the Lagos State Governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, has imposed a 24-hour curfew on all parts of the state as from 4 p.m. today, 20th of October, 2020. Staff are hereby advised to adhere strictly to this injunction and stay safe. We will keep monitoring the situation and update you accordingly. Thank you. Warm regard, Teresa Bolaji, Head HR.
Thank you. Now, the curfew imposed by Mr. Governor on that day was to commence at 4 o'clock based on information available when this exhibit was issued.
Yes.
Was Lekki Concession granted a waiver from compliance from that curfew?
No.
The signage operator that you licensed to mount their billboard, to be best, were they excluded from compliance with that curfew?
Not aware, sir.
Now, we were all with the panel, and I believe you were also in the company when we visited the locus, your facility.
Yes.
The signage operator, do they have independent access to their facility outside of your own facility? Can they mount, can they get up without going through your facility?
When we went that day, we took a particular step
Yes.
to get there. Because they are our partner, they can have access to
Very
the
good.
place. Yes.
Let's talk about the lighting system in the facility. That's the lighting system, not just the power. How do you light up the place?
We have the independent
I
power.
understand the power.
Yes.
Now, at night, how is that place lighted on a normal day? If you are...
If we're on the ground,
Yes.
when darkness approaches, people on shift will go and switch on the bulbs, the external bulbs. Otherwise, during the day, it's off.
Can you tell what time of the day ordinarily would they do that? Based on experience, what time of the evening would you consider it now to illuminate the facility?
The general principle is because sometimes you have longer day or
Just
shorter.
give us
But
an idea.
on the average, it should be around 7:30 or so.
Thank you. And as at 4 o'clock, you had exited the facilities.
Before 4 o'clock, yes.
The personnel whose duty it will have been to go and switch on the lighting system must also have left, based on your instruction, the exhibit C, by 4 o'clock.
Everybody was asked to go, no exception.
How about your owners, Lagos State government? The Lagos State government, by any means, asked you before you exited at 4 p.m. to switch off power source or remove camera. Were you under that kind of instruction from Lagos State?
No, sir.
Yes. As a government-owned company, your reporting line, direct reporting line, does it go to the governor in terms of what you need to update them about?
No, we have a board.
Thank you. The proactive steps you took to anticipate possible risk of vandalization, destruction, was a management decision. You did not need to get board approval for those kind of things.
No. It's purely management decision. We just sat, we reviewed things, and we took steps.
Your staff, your employees, direct employees, are they working presently?
No, we're not working. Everybody is at home. The one or two of us is because when we received the invitation from the panel, we had to bring some people back to help us to, because without power, there's no way we could access. We had to bring some people back to, just for us to, and maybe at the end of the day, we also want to appeal to allow us to have access so that we can carry out, because we still need some other things to do.
Access. Okay, now. I remember we went with you to the facility.
Yes.
Are you suggesting to this panel now that from the date of this on 20th, except for when you went with the panel, you have not had access to that facility?
No.
So it's only by the panels.
We went there together, and we will probably today appeal to allow us to access so that we can attend to the insurance and other people that we partner with.
Now, for the period that the protest lasted, you were out of revenue.
Totally.
Totally.
Yes.
Is there any indication as to when you can resume normal functioning service at the Lekki toll gate? You are all there with source of things. Has that been, for now, a projection of how soon that facility can return to operation?
Any projection made here will just be a guesswork. When we went there that day, I saw the level of destruction there. The whole tolling system is completely out. It takes nothing less than 6 months to get those things back. We need to first of all assess. We need to now go on design. We need to now go on procurement and all. It will not take anything less than 6 months.
Have you retrenched any of the workers for now?
No, sir.
Now you mentioned there are different companies that you concession advertisement license to. Can you mention some of them? Not just one.
We have LOSAT. We have LOSAT. LOSAT is spelled L-O-A-T-S-A-D for dog. LOSAT. We have Prodigy. Prodigy Nigeria, yes. Prodigy. We have eye contact, as in the eye that we use to see, eye contact. We also have e-motion. I'll take it again. We have LOSAT, we have Prodigy, we have eye contact, we have e-motion, e-motion. These are all advertising companies in Nigeria here.
Yes. Now, have you up to today been able to confirm with identity that is verifiable any fatal casualty from the event of 20th within the complex of Lekki? Have you confirmed the verifiable identity of any person that was a fatal casualty there?
No, sir.
Now, you remember on our visit to the locus, to the site, your location, in company of the distinguished panelists, there were some form of observation of strange elements that people attributed to be probably firearms, ammunition, but nobody was able to confirm specifically that anything was either a bullet or a shell casing scientifically. But you observe as we are descending on the floor, like some people saw one or two of such materials that suggested something having to do with firearm, expellant, or whatever. But we don't, but as at now, we don't know what they are.
I don't know.
Do you have any training as a forensic analyst or balistician? Your person. Do you have any form of training? Do you have any form of training or expertise to function as a forensic scientist or ballistician?
I don't have. I'm an accountant.
Mr. Governor has responded to this incident severally since 20th of October. He has addressed the populace, he has issued certain guidelines and appeals. Do you have any reason to believe that Mr. Governor, knowing that that investment is the investment of Lagos State, all Lagosians, do you have any reason to believe that Mr. Governor ordered armed soldiers to invade that premises and engage unarmed protesters who have been there peacefully for 14 days, 12 days, to be shot at? Do you have any reason up to today to believe that?
At my
I don't want
disposal.
evidence of his opinion on this.
Just to find out if he has anything.
No,
Now, it's okay. At this stage, the only thing left for me is to reserve until we can give me the footage. Thank you.
Very well.
Disconnected. So I want to request is that if the tribunal does not have any further need to visit the toll plaza, that the Lekki Concession Limited, subject to the approval of the tribunal, be permitted to take back possession of the toll plazas for purpose of evaluation of the damage and the commencement of the process of carrying out necessary repairs.
Upon the application made by counsel for LCC that the company is granted the permission to resume possession of the toll, Lekki toll, with a view to taking stock of damage done and take necessary steps to make claims to their insurers and make arrangements for repairs, we have the considered view that those steps are necessary, but we will not grant access just yet. The footage presented in the well of the court must be viewed, and the need may arise for the panel to make another visit. For the said reason, the application is not granted today. It can be revisited after viewing of the footage, and the panel is convinced that it will have no further need for another visit.
kó ṣáà máa jẹ Thursday. Nígbà Thursday máa jẹ. Nígbà Thursday mi nígbà Friday.
We had hoped to view the footage, but we are not quite ready with the system we have in the hall for today. We need to play that. We need to make sure that it would operate to be operational, and we don't want to keep you here whilst we are fiddling with it. We want you to come in when we are ready to play it and the proceedings can continue. In that behalf, we are compelled again to adjourn this matter to Friday, 6th of November.
Honorable